What up, what up, what up? You tuned into the Jose Morales podcast, where we talk sports, business, and everything in between. I am your host, Jose Morales, and joining me in the ring today is my man, Carlos Marin. Carlos, say what's up, Carlos.
Hey, what's up? It's Carlos Marin.
Carlos is actually a member at the gym. He trains here. His wife trains here, and his son. His son is actually Alex, which you probably seen compete. He's got 4 fights now. He's actually going to be fighting soon. He's in the Warrior program. He's an impaler working on his Vercingetorix right now. And both Carlos and his wife both won the body fat challenge at a different time. You won it the first time.
The first time in the beginning of the year, last year.
And you lost how much weight again?
28 pounds and like 7% body fat.
Yep, the first one. And then Mayra, when Mayra won, she what?
I want to say it was like almost 4% body fat, and as far as pounds, I want to say between like 10 and 12. Yeah, not as much. But
so he doesn't know the details on his wife, but he knows his details, and that's what matters. But so they're both, the whole family's here, and besides that, their family trains here. The unique thing that a lot of people don't know, Mayra, his wife, is actually my cousin, and so they're my family. So Alex is my nephew. And another fun fact about him, you and Mayra have actually been together since how old?
So Mayra was probably about 14 when I met her, and I was 16. Yeah, but we've been together for almost like 17 years, almost 18 years.
18 years together. Wow. So what we're going to talk about today, we're going to dive into his story, get familiar with what he does for a living, what he's been through, which I love his story, and this is why I decided to have him on. He's actually one of the first people I bring on to share their stories because I love your story. For real. I love everything about you. I love what you stand for. And the best thing that I like about you as far as your business, go ahead, tell people what you do. What is your business?
So I'm the owner of Heartwood Professional Tree Management. We're a small company where we specialize in tree pruning, tree removal. We're bringing on vegetation management, which is a lot of like for bigger properties when they're heavily vegetated with overgrown trees and shrubs. We're like almost similar to land clearing, but land clearing, it's almost like when they're doing big construction.
Wow.
We do stump grinding. We're actually a small company. When they start doing the little small stuff, but for some reason I just got pushed into like super heavy duty stuff.
Yeah. So we're gonna dive into how he got to owning that company and how did that come about. And once he does that, I kind of share my story because we both kind of have similar stories. And also another thing that I want to say about Carlos is I always preach about you should find your passion as far as what you do in your career. It'd be something you really love. I can honestly say that this guy loves wood. I've never had a conversation with anybody about wood or anything, cutting trees or making tables or anything. This guy, you could talk to him for an hour about the different types of wood and all sorts of stuff. What is it about that you like so much?
So one of the first things I like about it is the machinery, like what it does, like in the industry. But another big thing that I like about our company is that we also work with a nonprofit organization that they specialize in recycling all the trees are getting removed because it takes like a lot of years for them to get to a certain size, and then most of the time they end up at the dump and then they chip them up again and they turn them into energy, which is also good. But us, we work with millers that will give them a second life where we can also take that piece of wood and incorporate back into their house, maybe picnic tables into parks. So that's one of the things that I really like about our company.
Yeah, that's cool. Another thing that I mad respect and love about him is your family. You have a beautiful family. Your kids are all well raised and respectable. I mean, they carry themselves very well, and you did that from a young age. So we're gonna talk about all that. First thing that I want to do is I'm gonna let you kind of start your story. What do you want to share about Carlos?
All right.
Go ahead, start your story, whatever you want to share with us.
Okay. Yeah. So my full name is Carlos Eduardo Marin Ortega.
Oh shit.
Yeah.
Hey, just for the record, I think all Mexicans have 4 names.
Yeah. No. Yeah.
We everyone drops them down to 2, but everyone has 4.
Yeah.
Yep. It's first, middle name, and then you take your dad's last name and your mom's last name, and you get both. I mean, so that's how you end up with 4. So that's your name. Where were you
Yeah,
born?
and I'm from a small town in Guanajuato, Mexico. It's called Santa Clara. It's a very small rancho that we call it over there. So put it this way, last year they barely got internet for like in ever. Before they didn't have, they just had landlines, and the landlines sometimes worked. What I used to like about going there, I went there twice, and like in the last 7 years, is that when you would go down there, it felt like vacation because you were not communicating with anybody. You had to literally drive like at least 30-40 minutes into town, and that's when you were able to use your phone, or messages started coming in. But yeah, that's where I'm from. The big town next to it is called Michoacan, and there's Sinapecro, Michoacan. It's a small town where my grandparents, they have a taco business, and they've been doing it for like almost 40 years.
Oh wow!
Yeah, so it's almost like a lot of my aunts. I have 12 aunts from my mom's side, and they all kind of run the business with my grandpa over there. And my grandpa's like 75 years old, and he's still going.
So did you ever see yourself as a business owner, or is that something that like grew or came about from within yourself, or did you always see yourself as you would be a business owner one day?
Yeah, I think with me, when I was working with different businesses, I always saw how happy some of the bosses look and how unhappy some of them look, and I always like what was next. I never liked to be in the same position. So when I was working with different bosses, I always picked up a lot of different things. Okay, this guy likes the business because of this, and I will notice that I have no time for this, but then some people were in control of their time. So that's what I also liked. I say maybe if one day I'm open my business, I'm gonna be able to control my time. I'm not gonna have a lot of time because I own a business, but I'm gonna be able to control it. So I just didn't want to be like a regular guy that just works Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 o'clock. I just wanted to do something else, and I wanted to try to push myself as far as I could, because a lot of my family, we were all just kind of workers, and me, I wanted to do that to also kind of provide work in the future for my families, like more opportunities. Yeah,
exactly. What made you finally make that push to finally become a business owner? What made you finally do it?
I think once the company I was in, I got to every position you can think of. I got certificates from crane operating to moving heavy machinery to planting big trees. I put a picture of on my Facebook, Instagram. It's like the biggest tree I ever planted. But there was, I just wasn't feeling it when I was there anymore. I felt like there was something else. I felt like I could do a lot more. Like I was taught by a lot of people there, and once I thought that I was like I knew enough to just go on my own. That's what really pushed me. But
when did you start working in that field? Did you always?
In that field I started working.
Your background, a little. What school? When did you graduate?
So the way so I grew up in Fulton, Arden area. So we call it like Arden Arcade. So I went to a school called Creekside Elementary. For middle school, I went to Star King. Creekside Elementary, they closed it. Star King is still around. What was it?
High school.
High school. I didn't go to high school. I went to homeschool.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So where did you and Myra meet?
Yeah. So me and Myra. So the way me and Myra met, she was living in I think at that time North Highlands, and I went to move. Yeah, I went.
Rennick.
Yeah, Rennick. Yeah, North Highlands. Yeah, and I went to move with my dad for the summer in 2001 in Sunrise Mall. So behind Sunrise Mall was called Sunrise Vista Apartments.
Oh, yeah.
And we had some friends that lived in the area, and I was invited to like a get together, and she was invited. And then one of her cousins, I met her through one of her cousins. She said, "Oh, I know this kid. His name's Carlos. I think you might like him." So then we were there.
They played Cupid and hooked you guys up.
Yeah, they played Cupid and hooked us up at the party. At first, it was just like we talked, we hit it off. She gave me her number, I gave her mine, and back then there wasn't cell phones, so I had to write down a piece of paper, put it in my wallet, and whenever there was a payphone around or I was at somebody's house, hey, let me call this girl real quick, and that's where we met. We met in Citrus Heights.
Yeah, that's cool. So then you guys met, you hit it off. Yeah, how was it being because she was like 14 or 15 when she got pregnant.
Yeah, no, yeah, she was.
I remember this, and the reason why I remember this, she's my cousin, so families talk.
Yeah.
So I remember hearing my mom and talk to my uncle, and they're like, "Ay, tan embarazada Mayra, da, 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 da." Fucking Mayra's pregnant. She's fucking hella young, blah, blah, blah. And everyone made it seem like, oh, shit. They're fucked. They're young parents. What are they going to do? And you were able to not only raise those kids, but turn your life around as far as became a business owner and still maintain that relationship, which is huge. You know how many people high school that are no longer together, and you were able to do it. you two and my sister is probably the only ones that I know. There's a couple other ones in the gym that I know, but that's huge. What's the secret to going? Because you're a kid. I mean, that's like puppy love. 15, 16 years old, and then you're living through 21. Clubbing and all this. And what? How did you guys do it? What was the secret, or what?
I gotta say, it was probably. If Myra can see, she has obviously like a lot of patience. For me, where I was raised, I was kind of almost forced to grow really quick into an adult, because I helped my mom raise my younger siblings. So my mentality was a little older. So when I met her, I was like 16, but I felt like I was older because I was working since I was 13 years old.
You're like me.
Yeah, taking care of my kids. Yeah,
and this is why I wanted to have this guy on here. This guy is just. And I see him a lot, very similar to myself. We started both working at a young age to help our mom, and I didn't raise a younger brother and sister. I was the baby, but same. We started working. You were 13.
Yeah,
I was 14. What was your first? Where were you working at?
My last state, you
can say whatever.
I was Jack in the Box. It was my first job.
Yeah. See, my first job, I worked as a dishwasher in Folsom at this breakfast spot.
Oh, okay.
That was my first job. And then from there, I took off to Lions. I was a busser.
Oh, okay.
And then you were doing the restaurants too.
Yeah.
I remember you worked at Felipe's too.
Yeah, I worked at Lions.
After Jack in the Box, where did you go?
Yeah, so I worked at Lions too.
You did? Which
there
one,
was
on
one that
Madison?
there was one on El Camino and Fulton, and then they actually closed it down.
I worked the one on Madison.
Oh, okay.
That's the one I worked on. Yeah, so I worked there. They let me go hella dirty. Bro. Yeah. They did me dirty, bro. I worked Thanksgiving. I worked Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, and then on the 2nd of January, the day after New Year's Day, without saying a word to me, I show up to work. I'm off the schedule, and they fired me. Just like that, didn't say nothing.
Okay.
Crazy, bro. I show up. I went back to the house. My mom's like, "What you doing here?" I'm like, "Went back." I'm like, "Shit, they fired me." She's like, "Yeah, they fired you." What? Right?
Yeah.
And and I went. I remember I laid down, and then my mom actually went to the job. And went off on the managers. Well, you know how my mom is. My mom's aggressive, bro. She went over there and she got kicked out, almost got arrested, bro, because she was trying to fight the manager, talking about, how you gonna fire my kid? So I remember that because I feel bad. I was like, motherfuckers gonna think that I can't fight my own battles, and my mom went for me.
Yeah.
But anyways, I bring that up because we walked in restaurants. You worked at
I also worked at El Coyote Junction, and then I worked at Felipe's and Folsom. Remember, it was
Felipe's,
a prime time big
right next door. Yeah.
So I used to go over there.
Yeah, I remember that. And then you went to Felipe's on Auburn too.
In Auburn, I worked a little bit too. And
so when did you get out of the restaurant business?
So in 2010, it was 2009. I went to I wanted to be an automotive technician. I think in between the years, I met you at one point, and I told you I wanted to be a smog check. I wanted to get cars
we
from
talked
the
about it
auction
because I was
sell,
doing that.
Yeah, and
you're right. I forgot about that.
And then from there, in 2009, I started going back to school. I went to study automotive technology. But then in 2010, Myra, she applied for me to become a U.S. resident. So then that took me back to Mexico. I had to go to Sheila Juarez. And then when I came back, oh man, it was scary.
So tell everybody that. When did you come to the U.S.? How old were you?
So I came in '89. So I was about 3 years old when I came.
3 years old.
Yeah.
So you should have been a dreamer. I mean, pretty much. Like you ended up getting married and getting paperwork that way, right?
Yeah.
How was it going to Ciudad Juarez? And those that do not know Ciudad Juarez in Mexico is probably like one of the most dangerous places on earth. It says it's right now they say TJ is the most dangerous place. But during that time, Ciudad Juarez was crazy, bro. Yeah. So how was that? How was it going from being in the U.S. from 3 years old to going to Ciudad Juarez? How was that?
It was the scariest thing I ever seen. I was always watching videos on YouTube, hearing the news, and then like the Mexican news, you be showing some, they don't like hide anything. Like sometimes you're hearing, I was like, oh man, you hear the stories over there. So it was scary. But
so what was it? You showed up. What did you see?
When I showed up, we stayed in La Quinta. As soon as we were going into we're going from Nogales into Ciudad Juarez, everything changed. From nice buildings to stores to just box houses in the street. I mean, you saw a lot of things being caged up. You saw dead animals on the sidewalk, and it was just like a smell like you could not get away. I'm not sure if it was maybe just the days I was there, but it was like almost like a I don't want to talk about bad about it, but it was almost like a roadkill smell, like just in the air, like, but it smelled like almost like animals and something else mixed. Human bodies. Yeah. And the hotel we stayed in, we stayed in La Quinta, and it had gates all around it. There was guards, so it was scary. Yeah, and everywhere you went, somebody wanted to help you out. Oh no, let's take you to this office. I am gonna help you out. And that's the first thing they said when you go to Sheila Juarez. If somebody tries to tell you I'm gonna help you out, don't listen to them, because it's just another scam.
They
and
ain't
it
trying
was
to help you out.
And so we had
trying to help you get robbed.
Yeah, no, exactly. Yeah, so we had one of Myra's cousins, which too, Ruben. He went with us to Sheila Juarez. He made the drive over there. We're like, we didn't want to go by ourselves. Like, who should we get? And Ruben, he was also like a kind of big part, because Myra and Ruben used to hang out. I used to live next door to each other, so he was always, with me and Myra here and there. We're talking. I remember one time I also needed like money to buy a car, and I go, hey Ruben, because he worked in construction, but he was like a saver, but then he always buy his own stuff. So we counted him on him for a lot of little things. So I was like, hey, let's ask Ruben. He'll go with us to Sheila Juarez. And I'm not sure if he was scared or not, but he's always chill. If you know Ruben, he's like
Ruben's
a chill guy.
he's actually on a podcast. I'm gonna bring that up to him. I'm gonna bring that up.
Yeah. So we went over there. He went with us, and he kind of helped us, get through everything. Because Ruben's like this big, tall, scary guy, and he's always been to a gym, so he's always kind of looked a little big. So when we were there, we were in the office. And because literally, like everybody said, don't talk to nobody. We ended up talking to somebody, like, I can help you, and took us in the office. So it was me, Ruben, and Myra, and we're sitting there in the office thinking, hey, wait, didn't somebody say not to? And we just ran out after that. Yeah, we ran back out into public and didn't even tell them or nothing, because they took us in there and they had us in there for like 20 minutes with nobody like coming in. I'm worried.
So somebody came up to you and said, hey, I can help you out, and took you into this room.
Yeah.
And you guys are sitting in this room, and you're like, wait, didn't they tell us not to do this? And you ran out of the room?
Yeah. And then we ran out of the room, we went back into the main street. And we're like, you know what, we got to stick according to plans. So Myra and Ruben, they got a car back to the hotel. So I'm sitting there. I went in, got all my appointments done. And then I remember the hotel shuttle was supposed to pick me up, and they didn't. But from the Sheila Juarez to the hotel was probably about like a mile. But you can see it, and I was like, man, they're not coming. People are still talking to me. What should I do? So I just took off running. I didn't look back. I had my paperwork in my hand, and all I can see was the hotel, and myself and the papers just running and running and running and running. And so I finally got there, touched the fence, buzzed it, and they let me in. That was the experience. It was the scariest thing. But I think one of the worst thing is the last night we were going to be together, we said, okay, let's go have a bite to eat. So we ended up going to this mall. We went to a Mexican restaurant. It wasn't that great. We went back to the room, and then we were watching news, and it said that somebody just got killed at that mall. There was a shooting, and they had like this Mustang with a bunch of bullet holes and like just people laying there. I was like, we were just there. Like, yeah. And after that, I was like, I'm never going to go see Juarez again. Hopefully I don't have to, but
that was it.
Yeah.
So it's not a vacation spot.
No, it's not a vacation. Yeah.
So you got your paperwork, and that's when you made the switch to leave.
Yeah. So when I came back, my goal was to keep working at the restaurant, keep doing my automotive technology, but with everything came expenses. So when I came back, I had a lot of bills. So then I started looking on Craigslist, see what was out there. Craigslist back in the days was like somewhere you go to find everything from cars to jobs to whatever. And I found the job offer where I worked at the tree industry, and I saw they were hiring, and it looked like they were paying really good money, because remember in 2008 we were getting out of the recession. So like 2012, and it showed them that they were busy all the way till then. So I was like, man, there's always working trees, and trees are always around. So then I went there, and then that's when I started getting into the trees, and I really liked it. My goal was just to work through a year, pay everybody off, come get back to school, and then eventually get back into selling cars and doing smogs. But
do you still like cars, or do you not like?
No, I do. I do. I don't like to work on them no more, because now it's like when last time I worked on the car, it's just too many sensors. Everything sensors now. Like you're driving the car, there's so much sensors that turn on. Back then it was like carburetors, like up into like maybe 2003, 2004. Then everything became fuel injected. But now it seems like everything runs off sensors.
No, it's different. It's a lot different.
Yeah. And then I ended up staying in the tree industry from there. I worked there until like maybe 2019. And it was a good spot. I really liked it. I learned a lot, met a lot of good people.
I had bugged you about starting your business for a long time.
No, yeah. You always tell me you should do it.
Because you're a hard worker. I was like, man, you put everything together, and plus you know everything about the business ins and out. And I mean, those two things is a recipe for success. And I just felt like you needed to make that leap.
Yeah.
And I was ready to push you off and be like, dude, do it. What are you waiting for? Come on.
No, yeah.
What was scary for you going from a steady paycheck to a full-on all you type of that? What was it that made it so difficult for you or so hard that made you hesitate?
It was that I'm working for a company. I had a check every single Friday. It was there for sure, and then the tree industry is a little different, so we don't get contracts like some landscaping companies are different, where we don't have a repeated service every month. Trees, like sometimes you can prune once a year and that's it, and there's sometimes you can do it for 2 years. Maybe you'll go to the same house that you went to. Like say I'll go to a house tomorrow, I'm not going to be there for maybe 2 more years because maybe we did a good job on the tree, or depending on the type of tree, because every tree has different growths. We could be there next year. So every single day you have to get new clients, and just stay busy. But there's so much trees out here.
Is that what made you hesitant?
Yeah, because there was no contracts.
And also because you were the only one working, right?
Yeah.
That wasn't working.
Yeah.
Nobody else was working.
Yeah.
So that's scary. Yeah, it was similar for myself. Very similar. I had a similar story. My wife, we had our kid. I had a house. She was unemployed. I was a main source of income, and walking away from a good paying job when I was at the dealership to running a boxing gym was like, you're crazy.
Yeah.
What the hell? Especially when I told people I'm going to do boxing. How the hell you make money boxing, bro? What's wrong with you?
No, yeah.
And it was very scary. I literally just jumped off. As soon as I got it, I said, fuck it. And I quit my gym. I quit my job, and I went 100%. At it. Everyone told me not to do that, though. Everyone was like, you should keep it going slowly. But I told myself, if I don't go hard now with it, I'm not going to blow it up.
No, yeah.
So with you kept your job though, right?
Yeah. So I kept my job for about 1.5 years. So I became a licensed contractor in May of 2018. And I started slowly building on the clientele, working on the weekends. And then before I knew, I was like 1.5 years just working 7 days a week, nonstop, and coming to the gym, doing the dad thing,
you
it
didn't
was
really
hard.
have that much time.
I didn't,
because now I see you and you're going to Alex's sparring now. There's fights. I'm like, check you out. Before you didn't have time to do that.
No, yeah.
So how do you feel about the gym? You like coming to the gym?
No, yeah. I really like it. I feel like it's it reminds me a lot of things like from the past, because a lot of music you guys play even in the workouts. I used to hear them when I was younger, and like one of the biggest things too is that the 93 up there. I remember. So when we didn't have a car, I used to take that to my first job all the way to Orlando for like 1.5 years.
Oh, you took that bus?
Every single day, because it took me to Coyote Junction, And one day I was working out, I was like, oh man, it brought back a lot of memories. It was before I had a car, nothing. Yeah. So it's sorry, it gets kind of like emotional, because it reminds me like the bus driver. We had a good relationship where he used to even wait for me sometimes.
Which one?
He was tall. Yeah, he was tall. Simone. Yeah.
That's what I remember. What year was this?
So this was, I think it was 2004.
Yeah, that's when I wrote it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this is it's funny that you brought that up, because I remember there was only like 3 or 4 different bus drivers, but the times that you catch them at, it was always the same one at that bus time. So if you caught the bus at 3 o'clock, it's always that same driver. If it was at 4 o'clock, it was a different driver. And I had a cool relationship with that bus driver too. He was cool people. Yeah. If he give you a student discount if you're a student and things like that. So that's tight, man. Me too. I was riding at the opposite direction though.
Oh, okay.
I was going to Sac. I was going down Hillsdale. I was going down Watt Avenue, jumped off, and then jump on the light rail. Yeah. And then I was on the light rail going to Sac.
Oh, okay.
But you were going.
I was going up to Roseville. Yeah. So as soon as it made its last stop in Roseville to Orlando, then it went to Citrus Heights, and then came back to Orlando, and then went back down. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I remember I used to ride it, and it was funny because at Coyote Junction, it was just regular white tee, and then like a white dress shirt, and then some dress pants, and then one day we had put on a tie. And I'm sitting there trying to tie on the bus. They know how to tie it. I'm trying to learn all kinds of way. And I think the bus driver see me. As soon as I got out to the bus, he said, "Hey, come here." And I was like, what? He was like, come here. And then he got the time, and he just did it on himself. He was like, check this out. Do it. He did it. And that was the guy that showed me how to tie.
Oh, that's tight.
Yeah,
man.
it was a bus driver. Yeah.
That's a dope story.
Yeah,
Man.
he used
I didn't
to,
like that.
Yeah, he used to.
I didn't know that. I mean,
Yeah,
that's dope.
he used to same thing when I was getting off late. He would stay as long as he could because they got set times to make sure if I was gonna take it or not. Because sometimes I'll get a ride in the to work or back from work, but he would always wait the extra amount of time that he could just to see.
He knew you
yeah,
were there,
yeah, and then he would tell me too, I was waiting for you yesterday, but after I had to go after a while, he was, oh no, I got a ride. Yeah, but yeah, he was cool. And I remember too. He will also share stories with me too. When he was about to get engaged, he showed me like the diamond. He brought it to work because he was always talking about it. And one day he's like, "Oh look, I brought the diamond. I want to show you that. I'm gonna give my wife to fiance." Yeah, he showed it. He was driving the bus. He pulled it out. I was like, "Oh, that's a nice diamond." I was like, maybe one day I'll be able to afford something like that. Yeah, but yeah, he was a cool dude. Yeah.
So that's trippy, man. So you're here in the gym and you see that. Now.
Yeah. No, yeah.
And it's the same bus route. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
The same exact bus
Yeah. So
route.
then when I see that, and then I hear the music. And then, I see my son too, like in here, just watching him from when he first came in here to now, even, just from growing, I can see like around the house. Now, the only thing, it's kind of, it is not annoying, but I know it's going to come at, being a fighter every now and then. He's always just like trying to like hit us. And we're like, Alex, stop trying to hit us. I was like, Alex, we're not your enemies. But, I know he doesn't mean it, but, that's the only thing. And then too.
He's over there smacking the family around.
Yeah,
I need to talk to this guy.
Yeah, but, he does in a playing way. But now, I think after a while, when you start stand in front of somebody for so long, you start doing it, it almost gets more like natural to where sometimes you could be like hit a little hard, but then to him it's not hard because that's how he's normally hitting, so I don't know. So like sometimes he'll like try to play with the baby, like, hey, wait, he's just a baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that,
you're proud of him, though,
but I'm very proud of him. Yeah, but especially what he's become. And I always tell him, whatever you want to do, I was like, I'll let you do, but you got to keep your grades up. And that's one of the things that he's been able to do too. Coming here, working out for an hour, sometimes an hour and a half, sometimes a little bit more, doing the sparring sessions, and then doing now the 4 fights. Like, he's been able to keep his grades straight. And whenever he start dropping, like, hey, look, we saw you have a C. You gotta work on it. I was like, because if not, we're gonna have to cancel something. He's like, oh, okay, and then boom, he gets right on it.
Yeah, and he got a girl now.
No, yeah, now he got a girl too. Yeah.
I told him when I saw him, you got your pee-pee wet? Yeah, and he started laughing.
And then another thing too, what I noticed, like he tells me, like dad asked him, what do they show you at the gym? At the boxing gym, because his son does taekwondo. He's like, they showed us a lot. He told him about the warrior program. He told them, that they teach us how to be respectful. He's like, so it's not just boxing. He's no, it's not just boxing there. So the girl's dad was very impressed too with the gym.
What was it?
It's his girlfriend that he has. And
his girlfriend.
Yeah, his girlfriend. Yeah, and
okay.
his dad was always, because he always asks him, because when he visits him, the dad's right there. He wants to make sure, that. Yeah, of course, yeah. And that'll probably be me. That'll probably be me too, right?
Yeah, if I had a girl, I'd be right there too. I get it. That's tight though. That's dope. No, I'm proud of Alex. So one thing I do with the warrior program, as they go up, they got chores they got to do, and Alex always does his chores. Always communicates with me. And that's part of the things they got to do besides the boxing. I mean, the boxing is obvious that they're going to do, but there's other life lessons that you should learn. And that's, if I could use boxing to teach them that's my goal, and that's what I'm going to do. And one thing, too, thank you for trusting me to always work with them. And thank you for being a part of everything. I mean, you guys are a big part of the gym, and thank you for coming here and sharing your story. So what else about Carlos? What's the difference between your business and any other any other treat businesses? Like what differentiates you guys? What's the difference?
I think here, we're one of the things we're always trying to focus on is making sure that the client's 100%. I think as every company gets a little bigger, sometimes even have a friend, he owns the same company. He says he was growing, he just got a little bit a little bit sloppier, like with some of the cleanup, some of the work, rushing it, and focusing more on numbers. And one of the things I don't want to do that is focus on that, because I know with everything, you'll get rewarded at the end. but more than anything, like we're really hands on, like with the customers. You know, we for the first thing I ask them is like, what do you need with your tree? You know, because sometimes I can go and have my professional opinion about a tree, but maybe, you know, they're sleeping at night and the branches are rubbing on the side of their house and they're getting scared. But I go and I don't see it because I'm not there. You know, so we try to also not just
You
do
try
our
to
work, but
connect.
educate them too and connect more with the clients.
Yeah, that's huge.
Uh-huh.
And that's definitely
Yeah.
something I don't really hear people. I
And
mean,
then-
not that I've ever called a tree company, but
Yeah.
I'm saying when I deal with different companies with different things around that I have to call, they don't really sit there and listen
Yeah.
to what my opinion is on something. And a sales tip to anybody: anytime you're gonna make a sale or you have a potential
Mm-hmm.
customer, the best thing you want to do is ask questions.
Yeah.
They're gonna come in with questions, but you want to ask them as many questions as possible.
Yeah.
Because then the more questions you ask, the more familiar you're gonna get to know what they're looking for,
Well, yeah.
what they want,
Yeah.
and then you're able to know what kind of service you need to provide.
Yep.
And if you are the right place for them, maybe they need to go somewhere else, and it's okay. And it's okay
Yeah.
to sometimes tell people, you know what, this is not the place you're looking for. You should go hit up this person down the street.
Yeah.
And that's fine. But at the end of the day, what's important is taking care of the customer, and that sounds like that's what you're doing,
Yeah.
and that's great.
Yeah.
And with that, thinking about the people and the customer, you will always do great. That's
Yeah.
a great way. I like that. That's tight.
Yeah.
What else do you want to tell us about Carlos that we do not know? Anything you want to
Let me
share?
see.
How about your daughter always getting red cards?
Oh man, my daughter,
Nayeli, man,
No, yeah,
I call her
she's-
red card.
Yeah.
She's aggressive,
No,
man.
yeah,
Shit.
she's aggressive. Yeah,
You gotta put her in
No,
here.
That's what I told her. I told her, you know, because she played recently soccer for high school, and the team didn't do so good. And you know, she tries really hard at everything as far as soccer. She could be doing defense, and then she's trying to make goals and forward. She could be. Usually she's always in midfield, but they try to put her in forward this year and defense. And this time she was in forward, and then from forward she'll go to help the defense out. And I always told her she always does too much. I was like, but it's good, you know, because that's what she likes. But I always tell her, I was like, we need to put you in boxing. I was like, because if you want to be in control of your win or lose, I was like, you know, if you do something wrong, like, you
Boxing's all
know,
you.
it's all you. I was like, right here, you're depending on a team. And she's like, oh yeah, she goes, yeah, it would be good. But I don't know. I think with everything in the future, if I keep telling her, maybe she'll come and try it out. Because she did it before, but she was like, oh, Dad, I don't want to spar. I was like, well, you don't have to spar, because you know they think like they come to box and they got to spar right away. I was like, no.
Yeah.
I was like, you got to build yourself. You know, I was like, even me, I'm scared to stand in front of somebody. You know, like when I'm in here, I'm like, sorry.
Yeah. Every time Carlos spars, he hits somebody, he says sorry. I'm like, man, Carlos, you can't say
Yeah.
sorry every time you punch somebody. They don't say
yeah.
sorry when they punch
No,
you.
yeah, no, exactly.
But yeah, that's pretty much it as far as what we're talking about. Is there any way how people can contact you? How can people connect with
Well,
you?
we don't have a web page yet. We're working on it, but you guys could look us up on Facebook. Carlos Logboss Marin, or we got Instagram. It's Carlos. Oh no, it's Heartwood Pro Tree on Instagram, and my number is 916-880-6831. Personal.
Hey, personal, relax,
Yeah.
relax, Carlos.
Yeah. No, yeah.
Hey,
But,
thank you guys. Thank you again for coming here and sharing your story. Thank you guys for listening. I hope you guys got something from it. Share, leave us a review. Let us know what you think. And we out.